Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is April. I go by Ruby Rouge here on the YouTubes. Today's video is an update. It's the May version of Pan That Palette and Create My Own Palette. Love this video, love doing this video, creating it. It's a lot of fun. Excited to get into it. So the first thing I'm going to show you, oh, and I forgot, I injured my hand yesterday. It was a kitchen cooking injury. I was not using proper technique. Yeah, and I injured my hand, so won't go too much into that, but let's get into this baby right here. So sorry about the bandage anyways, what's the point of that? Pan That Palette update, and I expanded pan again in white, and I hit pan in blue. My goal for the month was to hit pan in blue. I finally did, and it's in there. It's deep. I use the blue a lot for liner. I also use blue eyeshadow fairly regularly. Hitting pan on a blue that big and that pigmented is pretty difficult, but it took a while. My goal for the next month is going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to hit pan on this lightest taupey shade. Honestly, I've talked about it before with this palette. The progress on this palette's probably going to slow even more at this point because these aren't really summer shades for me, and as the weather warms up, these shades will look less and less. I will gravitate towards these shades less and less. I did try to work on these a little bit last summer. I had some luck, some struggle. They're very, very cool tone. So yeah, we'll see. But there are a few shades that you'll see in my Create My Own Palette that we'll be trying to work on. All right. Alright, so let's bring out last month's inspiration palette, and if you're curious about what I'm doing, you want a better explanation, you can watch some of the previous videos. If you want more information about this particular palette, you can watch last month's video. I used every shade at least once, which is a goal for me. So I did include these two liquid shadows this month to play with. I don't know that I had really ever played with these very much. I hadn't played with them on the level, oh shoot, I was way off camera there, that I really had gotten to know them, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't have felt comfortable like wearing them if I was going somewhere or doing something, but now I'm good. I feel comfortable wearing these. I think they're both very, very nice. Here's the deal with, so I have the Cover FX and Amethyst, which is this little one, and I ended up actually liking it better. It's this one, it's the more silvery one. The Ciate Eye Luster shadow, I really like the formula is like good, but I don't like, it looks patchier, and see from certain angles, like, I don't know, something about it, it just came across as patchier. They both kind of do it. I'm really weird about duochrome shadows because I don't know. I'm just weird about duochrome shadows because I feel like they do kind of lend a patchier look to your makeup sometimes. And yeah, it's not my favorite. But the Cover FX one in Amethyst was beautiful, and I didn't have any weirdness with it. I did have more weirdness with the Eye Luster in, I don't remember what that one's called. The other revelation I had for the month was about my Shade and Light palette, and that is that these shadows don't play as well with other shadows, and they're beautiful on their own. But I have a hard time when these were the two I included last month. I have a hard time, like if I want to do a look and incorporate these shadows like with other palettes, I just can't. It never ever looks good. And I have had other shadows, my Makeup Forever shadows that I love were like that as well, but I think because I had so many Makeup Forever shadows, it didn't really bother me. But this is the only Kat Von D palette that I have. And it's kind of, you know, boring. So because I don't really have other shadows to kind of play with it, and it doesn't work really well with anything else, it's really heading towards the chopping block. Because I don't know. It's a big palette to keep for 1 or 2 eye looks. Now I want to show you all the palettes that I chose from for May. As opposed to previous month, I really didn't have like a color story in mind for May. So I really just went through my whole palette collection and intuitively picked things that kind of grabbed me or said, use me, use me. I was a little nervous whether or not that would turn out to be cohesive, but I ended up liking it. I think that I might have picked a little bit, maybe of too many of like dusty, pinky, taupey browns, but I was really, really feeling those this month. I also wanted to play with some variations of that kind of colors because I have quite a few of those in my collections and I don't really know which ones I love the most or which ones I don't like. So I thought that would help give me a little bit of perspective if I could compare them directly to each other. I also really wanted to get out my Sultry palette from ABH. It's a beautiful palette that I've enjoyed when I've used, but now it's just sitting here. Also, my Neutral Mattes palette from Viseart is really starting to need some love. I know from doing this Pan That palette that I really need to keep progress on my Viseart palettes very consistent and use them a lot. So I've been working in I've been trying to work in a shade from pretty much all of the palettes every month. I did work in one liquid shadow this month, and this is the Appeal Liquid Shadow. I don't see a color on it. Oh, rose gold. It's really pretty. So yeah, really pretty shadow. I have used this liquid shadow before. I just want to play with it, get to know it a little bit better. It's funny, one of my favorite YouTubers actually mentioned on her channel just recently. It came in a BoxyCharm, so a lot of people got that shadow. But Anne Elizabeth Murray, if you ever watch her channel, she's just super sweet. I just really like her personality. I just like her channel. It's easy. I don't know. It's just easy. She's sweet. She's nice. Her content's good. I just really enjoy her channel. So check her out if you are interested. And then let's bring on the actual palette. As per usual, top to bottom, left to right, I have my burgundy shade from my 07 palette. This is going to be one of those shadows that I can actually wear throughout the year. So we're going to sprinkle in those types of shadows from my Pan That palette. The next shadow we have is Dusty Rose from the Sultry palette. This is a cooler tone to it, but it's not nearly as cool as the Viseart shadows. So let's get I'm going to do a comparison swatch because, oh, a little crumble. I got one little crumble. So that's Dusty Rose. I can't remember what the, I think the comparison is this one. I mean, when I talk about the Viseart cool tone palette being cool toned, it is cool toned. Like, I know it's not swatching that great, but you can see the difference there. Very, very cool toned. There we go. I really wanted to get out the next two shades, my Neutral Mattes palette, and this will be another interesting. I don't have the actual, but like, let's do that. Let's do a brown from the Neutral Mattes. Ooh. Then we're going to compare it to a similar shade from the Cool Mattes. How about that? Now that, I don't know. See? I feel like the Cool Mattes actually looks maybe a little bit warmer. Anyways, I wanted to get out this Neutral Mattes palette and play with it some. Let's see. I also wanted to compare, oh man, the wrong shadow, dang it. I wanted to compare one of these grays. Probably this gray. Yeah, so there definitely is a difference. Glistening is another shade from the Sultry palette that's just incredibly easy to wear, pretty simple shade. These Dominique Cosmetics. I have not even played with this palette at all. I got this from BoxyCharm and it's just been sitting, waiting on me to want to reach for it. They swatch pretty nicely. This is an interesting, just kind of like glitter topper. I thought would be easy to play with. And then I thought we would try out this matte formula. It looks like it's gonna be okay. I talked about the Appeal liquid eyeshadow. This palette's really interesting. It's a pressed pigment palette, so it's not quite the same formula as the Viseart normal. I do love it though. It's a great palette, but I'm never gonna use this palette. So I'm gonna try to start bringing it in a little bit. Not that I'm never gonna use it. I'm never gonna be able to use that up. That's like so much brightly colored eyeshadow. And then Orange Soda from the Soft Glam palette. I tried to wear this some last summer and it didn't really work once I got a little bit tanner. So I thought maybe this would be a good time of the year to try to get some use out of it. This Viseart palette is one of my favorites. And this yellow gold, I mean, it is such a true yellow gold. Like, it looks yellow. Back to the Brights palette. We got this orange. My fingers. I like the orange shade a little bit better than the yellow. I think it's going to be a little bit more flattering and easy for me to work with. But yeah, so I'm going to have some bright AF eye looks I need to create this month with some orange and some yellow. Okay, this whole next row is from my Viseart Pan That palette, Cool Tone Mattes. I'm not going to swatch any of those. You guys have seen those probably to death at this point. And I showed you some comparisons in the beginning. Then we'll move on. Ofra Candy Apple is one of my favorite shadows. Oh god, it's so good. It's so crumbly and like kind of reminds me of Lorac in the way that they're very just kind of pigmented and a little bit messy. But I love those shadows that nobody has to remind me to use. It is also a really, really nice blush. And then we have Makeup Geek Masquerade here. And I have decided that I want to pan this palette or that shadow this year, meaning I want to hit pan on it and then get rid of it because it's getting old. It's discontinued. I've had it for a very long time. Simply Marlena is another one that I bought around the same time that I'm just thinking, hold on, it swatches a lot better than that. That it probably just needs to go as well. But I would like to get some use out of it because I really did like it. And it is a pretty. ABH Blushing. This is an interesting single that I would definitely not repurchase. I have used it quite a bit, but that's just because it like doesn't really have a lot of pigment to it. It's a nice blendy shade. Like I can use it to help blend out or soften up other pinks or I don't know. Like I can do things with it, but on its own, it's really not like much of a standalone shadow, at least not for me. And next we have Tati. We have Aura Metallic, which I was honestly just looking. I wanted a champagne lid shade in this palette, and I was like, I haven't used that one in a while, so I thought I would get that one out. It's not looking super. It's definitely not as blingy as some of my others. And then while I was in this palette, swatching that Aura Sequin caught my eye, and it is so freaking pretty in the pan. But I was not a fan of these. However, I thought, you know what, let's give it another try. Let's give it another go, see what happens. It's See if maybe I'll change my mind about it. Lastly, oh no, we got some candy apple. See, that candy apple is gonna make a mess. It is one of my favorite shadows, but it makes a mess. We have Victorian, and I picked this one just because I thought it would go well with some of those other taupey shades, and most of the taupeys that I had were mattes. Anyway, so that's the end, guys. How are you guys holding up through everything that's still going on? It's been interesting. I think that the change of tone and stay home, stay home, stay home, stay home. Uh-oh, go out, go out, go out, go out. It's been really interesting for me. I personally am going to pay attention to how that plays out, but I'm personally not in need of like jumping out of my house, going to eat and anything like super soon. I'm doing good. Like, we're okay. We're good staying home. I do miss those things, but I'm going to prefer, I think, to wait it out a little bit. What do you guys think? No arguing. So I'm going to take off now. Thank you guys so much for stopping by to hang out and enjoy playing with some eyeshadows with me. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay home, I guess, if that's what you want to do. And if that's what you can do. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye.